It's a simple idea. Design yourself a common floor pan and then base lots of different models on that floor pan and you save yourself loads of money. Well, that's what the Volkswagen Group have done. They've developed a chassis and powertrain which is underneath the new Golf, the Audi A3, the new Volkswagen Bora and the Skoda Octavia. But just how different in character and performance and appeal can two cars be when they share the same underpinnings? Let's find out. Our protagonists in this lineup are the top of the Bora range, the V5, a smooth 150 brake horsepower executive express, and what Skoda call the top of their range, the Octavia, but fitted with the 1.8 litre turbocharged petrol engine. It's an interesting comparison because both engines develop the same maximum power, 150 brake horsepower in both cases, but it's the way the engines deliver that performance that makes them rather different. As a car manufacturer, it's very difficult to shed an image once it's become established in the buyer's minds. Now take this car. I turned up the other day and somebody said, "What are you driving?" I said, "I'm driving a Skoda Octavia." And they smiled at me. Why did they smile? They remembered those dreadful old just a carrot jokes, because Skoda very definitely is no joke anymore. It's built by the Volkswagen Group to the same standards as Audi and other Volkswagen cars. You don't normally associate Skoda with the image of sportiness, but with this 1.8 turbo engine, well, it's definitely all of that. When the turbo comes in, the car really flies. It's like a Volkswagen Golf GTI in feel, and it delivers the power in a very different way to the Bora. The V5 develops exactly the same 150 brake horsepower, but it's a much smoother unit. It gets the feeling of the iron fist in the velvet glove, whereas this is out and out, rorty-torty, wheel-spinning performance. As you'd expect for a car based on the Golf platform, if it wasn't for the Skoda badge in the centre of the steering wheel here, well, you'd be hard-pressed to tell which car in the range you were driving. Certainly, it feels no different to the Bora on the road. Perhaps a little bit more road noise. That might be a function of the hatchback body, and there's a little bit more boom, and certainly more road noise transmitted from the rear wheels than you find in the Bora or in the Audi. Again, they're more expensive cars, so perhaps they've got a bit more sound deadening material in the shell. It's fascinating to see how two design teams tackle the job of engineering the body shells of these two cars. Volkswagen engineers took rather a different line at the top of the doors. Skoda have come down, you'll see, and Skoda has gone for a much more steeply sloping rear window and a hatchback. Gives you a huge space inside the boot, but Bora has similar dimensions but a very narrow boot lid, so it's actually quite difficult to get into. I think of the two, I prefer the hatchback. This is the top of the range car, and it comes with these rather good alloy wheels and leather upholstery as standard. £17,299. Not cheap, but perhaps more effective is the bottom of the range entry-level model, which is just £11,299, and you get most of this. So how does Volkswagen tackle the same chassis? Lighter and airier in the Bora, thanks to the choice of light-coloured materials on door trims and carpets and headlining, but that's obviously a matter of specification of choosing the colours you want inside the car. Nice little touches like the fake wood trim on the doors, on the face here and the gear knob add to the image of an executive express. Ride and handling feel very much the same. If anything, the Bora feels slightly softer. I don't know if they've got softer spring rates in here than they have in the Skoda, but slightly more float to the car than the Octavia. A feature of the common platform is that both cars have literally enormous boots. As we've mentioned, different ways of accessing them. But given the choice, I would prefer slightly smaller boots in both cars and a bit more rear legroom, because that's what's missing. There's really not a lot to choose between the two cars, and that's a compliment to Skoda, evinced by their huge success in the European and UK market since the Volkswagen takeover. Volkswagen dealers tell us that the Bora isn't exactly setting the world on fire from a sales point of view, and no big surprise there either, because its predecessors, the Jetta and the Vento, were always sold far less than the hatchback Golf. Really, the choice between the two comes down to which engines do you want, which interior trim, and what extras you're going to specify. But whichever way you build your car, the Skoda's going to save you at least £1,000, if not a lot more. And that's the most compelling argument of all.